Hello, guys. Welcome to 1878 Blues. I'm back again, and I'm doing a bit of a different video today. I'm doing a match preview, and I'm joined along with someone who I've watched quite for a while now, called Everton Rose. Hello, Rose. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
No worries. Um, yeah, so Let's go straight into it. First of all, I'd just like to say that the Everton top there I'm seeing you wear, the new Everton away kit, actually looks really good. I've seen a lot of pictures of it online, but when you actually see it, someone actually wearing it,
Yeah, I'm
actually
real.
really good. Have you bought
Thanks.
both tops? Have you bought the home and away kit?
I have actually. With this one, I bought the one with the logo, the
Yeah,
steak sponsor, but the home one, I went without because
yeah,
I'm quite small, so I can fit
yeah,
into the youth one. So yeah, I bought both, and
yeah.
I've seen apparently the third one. I'm probably going to end up buying that as well because it was quite
Yeah.
nice. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I normally see a load of leak images on Twitter and whatnot, but I haven't come across anything yet of it. So I'm gonna have to have a little look after this.
Yeah.
Uh, have you got anything on the back of the shirt?
No, I got
No.
scarred because I got James Rodriguez, and then he left. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So cool. So we need someone like him at the moment. Let's just say that. Right, basically, Everton have got Chelsea this weekend. Our first Premier League match of the season. Um, Looking into it a few days ago, I had a bit more confidence going into it, knowing that our last four home games against them, we've won them all. Um, but unfortunately, we got the news in the past 24 hours or so that Dominic Calvert-Lewin has picked up some sort of injury. And Everton have only just released a statement about it, that he's picked up an injury. They haven't stated what it was. They know how the level of the injury is, and they don't really have an actual timeline of how long he's going to be out for, which concerns me greatly. Um, Obviously, they know the injury, but like it could be one of them injuries where you have a time scale of how long you're out for, but then the risk of bringing him back too soon could make it worse, to be honest. So the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin's injury record in recent years is something probably that's what they're thinking about, to be honest. That's why they're probably gonna, if it's gonna be like a 2 month kind of layoff, Dominic Calvert-Lewin could be about 3 months. That's what I'm thinking. I've seen,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've
I
seen,
think um, Lampard's come out, as Ian said, we don't. People have been saying timescales, but we don't know. I mean, it just doesn't sound good.
yeah,
Because with him, it was like he was just getting back to what he looked like before he got injured, and the issue is that I've had a few comments like this about this could be a pattern for him now. Like
yeah,
he comes back, he breaks down again. I hope he is. I hope it isn't. But then obviously the value of him is just going to go south as well.
yeah,
Um, yeah, same. I was feeling quite positive, quite confident going into Saturday, but then I also forgot that we didn't have Rondon either. So like we have no strikers. So
yeah. I was just gonna say, I
um,
watched the video when you mentioned about Rondon. I was going, oh no, no, no. Unfortunately, we'll have to go to the next season. We can't forget about last season at all. It's gonna have to move into this season as well. So
yeah,
yeah, to be honest, it's not a big miss Rondon, as we are aware of. It's nice to have a natural striker into the squad, but um, I think personally now he's going to have to switch the formation a little bit. Maybe it's going to be like a 4-5-1, which could have been the case anyway with Don McCarville, because you've not, I mean, could have put Dele Alli as a second striker, but you're normally playing a 10 role or 8.
yeah,
I think Dele's might have to go on top now. And he did showcase a bit of that against Dynamo Kiev on Friday night. So that could be the plan forward, but it's going to be 2 games without Rondon now.
yeah,
He missed one last year, so yeah. I think that now opens up the doors for us to buy a striker. Now, I put a tweet up last night saying, we've been a bit lackluster in this transfer window. We've been a bit slow. decision making. The negotiations have been very slow, apart from the McNeil deal, I'll say, and Vinagre. But I think we've got to be careful as Everton fans to not go back into that same situation we've had for the past few transfer windows and past few years, that we've panic buyed. And I think obviously Lampard and co have had a short list in pre-season and obviously the end of last season of what type of striker we need. And I think that's still going to be in the same boat right now they're in. Obviously now there's a bit more added pressure with Dominic injured or not, but I think they're pretty sure they knew that beforehand anyway, with his recent injury record, that is a possibility that we're going to have to get someone in.
Yeah, I think I'm just a bit more worried now about the clubs that we go to. So like Chelsea, for example, like they're just in a better position, aren't they, to say, well, actually, they've got Calvert-Lewin out for a few months, so maybe we can raise the price a bit. I think that's just my concern. But I was hearing as well that Newcastle wanted Calvert-Lewin, and I was just like, what? You know, with all their money, like there were like links, and I didn't really believe it would happen, but it definitely won't now. So.
No, to be honest, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, to me, he's obviously a good player. There's a player in there who, you know, it proven when we played in that season with our fans that he scored a lot of goals. He's a poacher in the box. You know, he's a threat in the air. But obviously, out of him and Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin was the player I wouldn't have minded seeing to go somewhere else. You know what I mean? I think he has a lot more offer for the team, who has more possession on the ball, who's obviously, you know, just a better quality side, who can provide them a lot more, you know, chances. You know, he does get chances at Everton. We all know about his one-on-one ability, 1v1 ability. It's not the greatest, but I think him missing in general isn't the worst thing for us. I know we need a striker. I know it sounds mad, but I think we'll play in a similar style if we had Dele on top, apart from obviously his heading abilities.
It's kind of, I even noticed in a couple of the pre-seasons that Calvert-Lewin was winning the header in the opposition box as well. So when Kiev had a corner, like Calvert-Lewin was up there heading it out. So we'll miss that, but I agree. I think we'll definitely miss Richarlison more. Like, he's just like a talisman. And Calvert-Lewin he's not quick enough. He doesn't chase down in the same way and press. And I can see, but it's asking a lot of Dele Alli though. Like, you know, we're not even saying we'll support Calvert-Lewin. It's like, no, like, you've got to get the goals, otherwise I just don't see like where the goals are coming from really. Maybe McNeil here and there, but
that's our concern. And I think I'm not going to do my Premier League predictions yet, but I feel like we're gonna. I know it sounds a bit mad because the two teams, I'll say, are quite wide, not too far apart, but just in terms of their consistency, Wolves last season was, I think we're going to be very similar to how they are going to be, how they was last season. I think they was missing a striker for large periods with Raul Jimenez fracturing his skull, and defensively they were sound. And I think, don't want to move on too swiftly, but like the addition of Ajisa and Gay and obviously Tarkowski, I think a lot, you know, defensively we're going to be a lot better. I know, as all Evertonians say, but what happens if they get injured? You've still got the same squad we have in the past season or two where they've been very poor. But that goes for any club. You know, any club who misses 2-3 big players in the squad will be affected by it. But I think that's where, and it's going to be a frustrating season, I think. I think there's going to be moments in games where we go, God, if we only had a striker, or we should have a bit more threat going forward, we could have won a few more games there and there. But after last season, I would happily sit back and relax us for the whole season, finishing about 12th and just having the most boring season ever. I just want a bit of stability at the club now.
Agree.
And I think that's going to be what we're going to witness this season, unless something magical happens from now to the end of the transfer window. Who would you like to come in? If you've got any, I know the rumours are there, but is there anyone else you can think of as well?
I mean, Ghana, I think is good. I mean, preferably for me, it's just probably wishful thinking, but I'm happy with Garner. He's exactly what we need in midfield. But I just think I want us to find the next Garner, if that makes sense. So I can't give you a name. Or maybe there's is it Onana from Lille, or like his name has been thrown around. I would like I would have loved this.
Is that the one who's going to West Ham? Sorry, I'm sure.
Oh, was he? Oh, was he already gone?
I think 40 million West Ham have put a pricing for, and I think he's already having a medical or something now. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I'm just going to Google that. Oh yeah, agree the fee. So yeah, West Ham have got it done, so that's not going to happen. In terms of a striker, I don't know, because like you say, you don't want to just sign a player for signing a player's sake. There's quite a is it Belotti on a free transfer? Somebody was telling me.
I mean, why not? I think it's one of them, but then we don't know him, don't we? We don't know his can't say the word. Basically, what he's like as a person, what he's allowed like in training, how much money he was on beforehand. Is that going to be something that we exactly need? I haven't watched him too much, but I've heard about him for years. It could be a risk worth taking, but there's not many out there, and I think there's not many out there for us to obviously, look into because of the FFP. Obviously, we just need to be sensible and not, rush into things. I think as long as we're stable this season, I think that's the main thing. I think, obviously, you don't want to go into a season with just Cavalier and Rondon, but maybe the likes of, what's his name, Dobbin, he's been linked to a move to Derby County.
Yeah.
Is that now a possibility that he might have to stay at the club? Which is going to have to see in the next few days.
Oh, to be honest with you, I haven't looked up Belotti at all. It was in my comments. But he's on a free. He's 28, and he got 100 goals in around 200 appearances for Torino over 7 years.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
It's not too bad, is it?
Yeah, it's Serie A, but I just one goal every couple of games actually isn't terrible. I don't know. So he's one, maybe. Why not?
He's played a lot of games, and he for Italy as well. You know what I mean? He's been there and about. Serie A isn't the worst league in the world, and it isn't the best, but still, that is a decent goal scoring record. And you just don't know. Someone like that could be a bit of a surprise package in the Premier League.
What about you, in terms of who you want to see come in?
So I'm going to mention about the players we're linked with first. Is that Dennis is someone I'm really licking my lips over. I think he just offers a bit more than the other players we're linked to, like Brozier. I just think Dennis scoring 10 goals in a side like Watford, who went down pretty hopelessly, went down last year without much fight, is making me want to take a risk on him. And the likes of Brozier as well. I like Brozier, but there's just something about him which I just don't think he'll suit us. And I don't know what it is, and it just doesn't feel right to me. And when I get a good feeling about something, it doesn't normally pay off, and I'm not like an expert enough it, but I just don't feel like he will be suited for us. But there's not many out there I can think of who we can realistically sign. Obviously, I've got me players I'd love us to get, but there's not many out there at all. I'm trying to think of any backup strikers as well for clubs who don't get a look in, but there's not many.
I mean, it's tough for every club, because even like Man City, they're bringing Haaland in, and Hayes isn't happy to play the Carabao Cup. He's off, like that's it. He's gone to Arsenal. He's going to play every week. So I think that's something that even the top clubs, they don't get an amazing second choice striker. It is difficult. I wish our scouts would kind of I feel like we used to pick up gems, in Moyes era, and that we just pick up players and it just used to click for most of them. It's just I don't know, but to be honest with you, I'm happy with what we've done so far. I think striker is still needed. I think I probably would have liked a bit more of a creative midfielder as well, but Lampard would have thought, well, we've got Dele Alli, we've got Gordon, we've got McNeil, we've got Gray, we've got Townsend. We actually have got depth in that one position. So and he wasn't counting on Calvert-Lewin getting injured again. So yeah, I think those are my thoughts on the window.
Yeah, I think it's a very, for what we can only do in the transfer window, I think we've done reasonably well. I know obviously you'd like someone who's another version of a Jesse Garner, but you're gonna be spending about 50 million, probably least, to get someone like that in. And unfortunately, that's just not what we're in for right now. That's what we can't do. So, just a Garner coming back, who has played a lot of games for PSG last season as well. He's very much required by PSG to be in the squad, regardless, playing or on the bench. He was always there and thereabouts. He played a great game against Man City. I don't know if that was last season or was the season before. I can't remember, but he was outstanding in that match.
I think he's definitely come on as well, like, in certain aspects. Obviously, he was great for us, and I think we only really saw how much he did when he left, and like the midfielders who came in just weren't up to it or just didn't have the space and time on the ball that he would allow. But like, he's also just got a few goals as well, which he never used to shoot. I think for us it would just be more that he was tackling everyone. But I think Garner's the right move for a few years. Hopefully, like, his legs don't go, because I did my Chelsea preview earlier with a Chelsea fan, and she was saying, like, Kante, his legs have gone and he's not the same player. And I just hope that with Garner, who's a similar age, they're both quite similar players, that just his legs don't go. Like, because like, he's great for PSG, signs for Everton. Oh, that's it. He's lost his yard of pace. I just think, oh god, like,
it's hard to be optimistic in it about Everton at all. You can think all you want about someone coming in or expectations, and it always goes the other way. Let's be honest, in the past few seasons. And I want to hope and pull the strings on Garner saving us basically in that midfield. But realistically, at his age, and it's Everton, players like to get injured when they come here. And I don't know what training regime we do. I don't know who works in the players or whatnot, but it's scary how many players get injured coming here. I mean, I think we had the worst injury record last year in terms of players out for a number of games. So let's just hope that isn't the case. But I'm gonna hope. I have a slight feeling we're gonna introduce a few players like what's his name? Stanley Mills, is it? Is his name?
Yes,
I think it is.
The young player.
Yeah, a few others just coming in. I think they're just starting to creep into the squad a bit, train with the first team as well. You just never know. You've seen with other teams, players just coming out of nowhere. I never heard of Conor Gallagher till we went to Palace, really. And all of a sudden, he was like the next big thing now, and he's staying at Chelsea for next season. So
you've got to give him a chance. You're not going to know. It's okay loaning them out, but actually, you won't know unless you actually give them rest. But I think he did impress, and I think he's one definitely. It's Welsh, another one as well. I think you've just got to give them a go, but you've got to, I think, just be really careful in where you bring them in. Bring them in when we're 2-0 up at home, and it's all right. Things.
That's what I mean. It's a rare thing that we're 2-0 up at home. You know what I mean? So
that is true.
Probably not the best team to kind of come off from the youth in a sense, and that's why we probably send them out on loan so we don't ruin their careers. But we're just gonna have to see. I mean, with Chelsea, I've seen a few comments on this live up to now. They say, like, who do you reckon? What players do we need to watch out for Chelsea? Pretty much most of them, especially the likes of Mason Mount. Obviously, if we don't get just a Garner coming in,
he can't
over the weekends.
Can he play? If he signs after today, can he even play?
I think it's. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've seen players play. Be signed at least over 24 hours before the game and then play. So I think it's that. But rules seems to change all the time in the Premier League, so I'm not really too sure. I mean, if we have it just going to I have a lot more confidence in our defensive work in that game. But obviously, if not, then I'm going to be worried for like sort of Mason Mount, Sterling now, who's joined Chelsea. They've got a lot they've got a lot of decent attacking players, but there's just something about Chelsea where I still feel like they're missing a few things, like a striker, which is, I was listening to TalkSport before, and that was the topic of the conversation, where all the big clubs around them have got a top striker now, and Chelsea have only got Havertz, who's not even natural number 9. So
if I'm honest, I'm quite surprised that obviously Richarlison going off to Spurs. But I think if I was Chelsea, I'd have been like, actually, I mean, I know they were probably a bit scarred after Lukaku and his connection with Everton, and then signing him and it not working. But you would have thought, well, maybe if Richarlison wanted to have a go at playing the main striker and play more, you could argue he actually might have got into the Chelsea more. But but they're in a bit of a financial situation as well, aren't they? They've got their centre backs have left and on free, and I do think Koulibaly, like a lot of people are putting that signing down, but I think I think he'll come in and he'll definitely sort out their defence, and it'll be good to see Dele up against Koulibaly at the weekend. Just to see how that goes.
It'd be really interesting to see Dominic Calvert-Lewin. To be honest, that was something I was looking forward to seeing, but it is what it is now. And I feel like maybe potentially, because Dominic Calvert-Lewin's probably certainly not as big as Koulibaly, but they are physical presence. They are both good in the air, and I feel like Koulibaly likes that, and a lot of taller players like Van Dijk like that as well. Big centre backs. I think Dele Alli might be a bit more of a problem if you could look at it in that way. That he's got a bit more flair about him. He's a bit lower centre of gravity, I'm guessing, than Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He can run the ball better. He can get in behind. Even it sounds bad like Lewis Dobbin if he stays and if he's in the squad. Obviously, we haven't watched him play much. He hasn't got much experience in the Premier League, but players who can get in behind tall, big centre backs like that always does cause an issue. Doesn't matter who you are. So, it could be a different test for Koulibaly. I don't exactly know what Koulibaly's attributes are, really. I know obviously he's tall, big, strong, but I don't know if he's fast on his feet. I don't know if he's a ball-playing centre-back. I don't know if he's just a natural old-fashioned defender. I don't know what he's like, but from his height and his build, I can imagine someone who's a bit smaller who can run in behind will cause him a bit of problems. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I think we should probably maybe think just about keeping Dobbin just in terms of like that, just an option. Like I would have sent him out on loan, but you're not really in the position to. I think with Koulibaly, when I've seen him, he's not very quick, but I think it's the way that he reads the game. So it's like he doesn't have to be super quick because he a bit like Garner, he anticipates what's going to happen before it does. And I don't like talking about across the park too often, but I think like Van Dijk the same. Like he's not quick, but strong, physical, and can read the game. And so I'm excited to see him in the Premier League because he's done it in the Serie A for so long. But we'll see.
What's your expectation of the game then? I'm a bit on the fence of it, but I'll let you give your opinion first.
I was positive up until Cavalier. I still am, because I looked this up earlier. We've beaten them 4 times at Goodison, and like each time we've just been in a situation, haven't we? So I remember once was with Ferguson, and we've just unfortunate, and then once was maybe even with Lampard. No, well, we've always just been in a position. Well, was that true? Am I making that up?
I think Lampard. You say Lampard won against Chelsea?
Lampard was he Chelsea manager when we had Ferguson? I think he was. So like Chelsea they've always like played us when we've kind of needed to perform, like at home, and unfortunately they've just been on the receiving end of that. So I am going to go with a 1-0. That's my heart talking. I think maybe McNeil could score one with his left foot or something. I can't predict a lot of goals because I just don't see us scoring very much. But I think if we can get Garner in and Tarkowski plays, I actually am quietly hopeful that we could just perform on the day. What about you?
I completely agree with you in a sense of it's going to be a tight game. And like I said, it could be just one of the games anyone scores and then holds it out for the win. It could be. It sounds mad because the open day of the season, it's exciting, all that kind of jazz. But I've just seen the championship scores on the weekend, and there wasn't many goals. I feel like people are scared to risk having a losing start of the start of the season. So I think it could be a ball draw, and it could be a 0-0.
Take it.
Yeah, I'll take it myself. I just think both sides have obviously had a few changes to the defensive part. Like we've got the addition of Tarkowski, they've got Koulibaly, and I think they're going midfield as well. Chelsea, someone from Aston Villa, 20 million.
Yes. Oh, I've forgotten his name. It's like 15 million, isn't it?
I can't even pronounce it. I'm not going to pronounce it. It's going to look a show in here. But, they're just buying players where they're not too attacking. Basically, I think, obviously, what they need, like we discussed before, is another striker. And for us, that's our priority now after the just going again. And I just feel like both sides are just going to want to not be beaten at the start of the season and just be unbeaten until the end of the transfer window so we can actually both make our signings with what we need. So I just feel like both sides are going to be very defensive on Saturday, perfectly honest. But we're just going to have to wait and see. That's it. Anything else you can add on at all?
No, I think I won't be too I think if we do end up losing the game, I think it's probably best for everyone not to overreact, and because at the end of the day, when you think about this, because when the lady that I was speaking to for the Chelsea, when she gave me her team, she was like, oh yeah, Koulibaly, Kovacic, Havertz, Mount, Sterling, and I sat there and I was like, right, that's a weak side, isn't it? And Chilwell and James as fullbacks, and I was like, oh, but you're great, And she's like, oh yeah, no, it's not a very good Chelsea team. It's all right, that's
get in our shoes.
So they've still got so many dangerous players that if it does end up going against us, it's just, I think it's about not overreacting and it is difficult to but I'll look at the performance more in terms of did we create chances, were we okay on the ball at times, were there positives rather than oh no, it's going to be another relegation fight or whatever.
I think what we need to see is a bit of an identity as well. I'm hoping with the players he's bringing in and the players who have left the club is that we are going to have some sort of way of going forward, because I've been a bit lost in, I'm going to say, about the past 3 or 4 seasons now of who we are and what we actually are trying to achieve. I feel like
100%.
I just think with Chelsea as well, when I mentioned before that they need a striker, I realised obviously that Lukaku wasn't, he just barely played last season. He wasn't great at all, and obviously that's why he's left the club. And he reverted Havertz as a false number 9. So, and you've got the likes of Sterling who have been used to playing in a side that playing with a false number 9 as well. So it could play in their favour. We're just gonna have to see how they turn up. Basically, it's whoever turns up on the day, and it sounds kind of obvious, but I feel like whoever really turns up on the day and whoever takes the risk of going forward will win the game. To be honest, I just don't know. I'm a bit worried, but I'm hoping, like I said, like you said as well, after if we do get beaten, there's something we can take from it. But this is still a long way to go in the transfer window. There's no panic stations yet, and I'm hoping we don't like I said, rush into buying into someone just because of Dominic Calvert-Lewin's situation. But
because we've been linked with Gilmore as well from Chelsea, so like Gilmore and Brozier. So if we are going to get those two, then they're not going to let them come to us before Saturday, and they won't be able to play anyway if it's on loan. So I think, definitely I'm going to judge us at the end. I think we've made some smart, a couple of young signings, experienced signing, bringing Garner back, the oldest one. So I think we've done the best that we could under financial fair play. But I think if we don't get a striker by the end of the window, I think people will be quite upset, and I'll probably be one of them. So
no, we will be, and I think that's and it's something we don't want to be dealing with till the end of January, because that's where potentially Dominic Calvert-Lewin could be out till. So we're just gonna have to let the first few games slide, in a sense of our overall expectations for the season. I just think we have to be realistic on what we have and what we don't have, and I just hope out of these first few fixtures we're getting something, and we're getting something from them, in the sense of what we know, what we're gonna have for the season, like the identity and just any positive areas. Like Dominic, it's a big season for Anthony Gordon as well. You know, I watched him against Dynamo Kiev. I thought he wasn't the greatest in that game, to be perfectly honest. I think what's slightly worrying me is the number 10. And I hope it doesn't get in his head that he's going to have to do all these mad skills now. He's going to have to over-impress on the pitch. I'm hoping he just sticks to his game, puts his head down, and just contributes to the team with more goals and assists. Just going to have to see, but I'm hoping it's a big season for Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, it's the same, because I wondered, like, does that mean he's going to play as a traditional number 10 as well, like, in terms of an attacking midfielder, but he likes being out wide. So yeah, I thought that was quite interesting that they gave him that number. And McNeil getting the 7, I think I'm actually quietly confident about McNeil. I think he got 2 goals in the pre-season friendly, which is more than he got the whole season last year for Burnley. He got like 1 assist, didn't he?
Yeah,
and they must have been thinking, so I think it's a really low price at 8 million for him, when he's got over like 130 appearances or whatever in the Premier League, and he's done okay, as long as his numbers improve.
Yeah, it's a smart signing. Obviously I wasn't over the moon with that. I don't think anyone is, and maybe that's something that we might need, a player who doesn't give you the wow factor, but then at the end of it you go, wow, he was actually a really good signing for us, and
steady.
And I think he could be one of the players this season who really stands out for us, and I hope that's the case. I think we need someone who's he's a bit different, and he's a traditional winger, but then also can cut inside as well. And he's a long range shooter as well, which we don't normally have anymore because of the likes of James leaving and Sigurdsson leaving. And I think that was especially last season, and that's why I think we've been linked to Ross Barkley and whatnot, that we have missed someone who's in a number 10 role as well, who's that difference maker. From the middle of the pitch to the 6-yard box, we haven't had someone who can create something in the middle. And you never know, Gordon might switch there. I know you said he's normally a winger, and I do think he's going to stick there, but you just don't know. Throughout the season, things change. Like I said again, it just depends who we bring in. But obviously, Dele Alli is our number 10 when you look at it, but it's a big season for him as well. A really big season. I think he's getting to that age now where he has to start producing and stuff.
Well, it's also like the World Cup as well, because we've got now quite a big English core of players. And if we do well, if we start as a surprise and they do well, then there's every chance they could get a call up as well. Like you've looked at Lingard going off to Forest, one potentially for the money that they paid him, but actually if he has a great season, then he's making a case. So
he's different, Ali, isn't he? He's a very different player, Dele Alli, to a lot of to a lot of the England midfielders anyway. When Dele Alli was on form, he's very different. So, and you don't know, he still speaks to the England camp, I'm assuming, maybe with Southgate as well. So there might be still room in there for him if he does perform to the level he used to. But we're just gonna have to wait and see. What was you saying? Sorry.
No. I was just going to say I'm going into it positive, because last season was difficult for everyone, like to watch and to make videos on and blogs on and podcasts, whatever people do on them, or just go and watch them if you don't have that stuff. And so I'm going into it positive, and hopefully, like you say, we get an identity, a style of play, that we can actually cling to. I just like us to be a bit more attacking. We've just been a team that sits back a lot and doesn't have much possession normally, and just I'd
Confidence,
like us to just try.
yeah. There's no confidence in us. And I'm
No,
hoping with the likes of Michaelenko and Patterson, and I was really made up at the signing of Patterson because I've watched him for a few games of Scotland. He's just one of them he's like, in recent years in the Premier League and football in general, I've noticed a lot of younger players not being nervous anymore. I think that's the influence of social media and whatnot. I just think they don't care, and I just don't think they have any fear or whatsoever. And I sense that from Patterson. And to be honest, Michaelenko as well. So I'm hoping them two are part of the attacking threat we're going to have. You know what I mean? We've had the likes of Coleman, and God bless Coleman, but we all know he's past this day now. Basically, he's still there. I still want him in the squad, and I don't want him as starting 11, but I want him to be there. And if he's needed, he's needed. But I think two young left and right backs now. We've got decent amount of experience as well. Could be a different thing for us to get used to this season. This could be something, the start of something new in terms of our wing back positions, which we've been quite decimated in the past few years in that area.
no, definitely, yeah, 100% agree with that. You have to let them get forward, and actually, someone like Iwobi as well, who we haven't really spoken about. I'm interested to kind of see what his role going to be, because we all thought he was done, he was finished, and then Lampard finds this role for him. Like maybe he could also just give us some energy, really.
Yeah, he certainly has that.
Sorry?
He certainly has that. I think someone told me in training, I think it's Ben, not told me, but I think Ben Godfrey mentioned something that he just doesn't. I think it was on one of their interviews that in America that Iwobi just doesn't stop running. Like he literally can go on for about two. He can play 2 matches if he wants. You know what I mean? His fitness levels are ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think also with the wing backs as well, that might create more room for the likes of Iwobi as well. I think when sometimes Iwobi's in tight situations, he kind of loses his head a bit. I think a bit more freedom on the ball for Iwobi can provide another threat for us. And yeah, I'm made up for Iwobi, to be honest. I think someone who works hard gets rewarded at the end of the day. And yes, he doesn't contribute too much in terms of goals and assists, but if he's a difference maker in the middle of the park with the Drissagana gate, both of them they cover a lot of grass. This could be a good partnership. You know what I mean? We just have to see.
Yeah. You could also maybe do a job on the Chelsea fullbacks who'd love to get forward. Like maybe starting Iwobi might be the answer as well on Saturday.
Yeah, I think we're going to need a lot of energy in this team right now, and I think we're starting to introduce more of them. Like we've got a lot of younger players now playing for us, which could be a helping hand against Chelsea as well, because they are a hard working team as well themselves. So it's gonna. I think that's going to be a massive difference as well. I think and I think Lampard obviously introduces that as well, that he doesn't want players to be slopping around or whatever. He wants everyone to be working hard, and that's the main thing, and that's the Everton way. And I think that's going to help us a lot this season with the new additions as well, because McNeil likes to do his defensive work as well. I think that's the type of signing he wants, even if they're a forward as well. They'll always track back if they've made a mistake or something. And I think Emmanuel Dennis was a very hard worker as well for Watford.
I like him. Yeah.
So, that's all I can think of saying, to be honest. But yeah, thank you for joining us live, Rose. Hopefully we can do this again at some point.
Definitely.
Let's hope that Everton can make us smile at the end of the week, and let's have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining anyway.
That's all right.
See you soon. Bye.